Indy, Monaco, Le Mans. There are many great races in the world, but for amateur drivers, one race stands above all others. For the past 50 years, the Sports Car Club of America Runoffs has been the pinnacle of amateur motorsports. A single, winner-take-all event that can take a lifetime to win and only split seconds to lose. This is where champions are crowned, where professional careers are launched. This is where greatness is born.
Welcome back to Road America. We're in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Coverage of the 50th SCCA Runoffs. Next up, a class near and dear to both of our hearts. Dorsey Schrader, GT1. Affectionately, we think of this as Trans Am in some ways.
They are, in fact, most of these cars, ex-Trans Am cars. There's been some changes over the years. The most important one, I suppose, is this monster demonic motor they have under the hoods. It's a 358 cubic inch NASCAR-driven type motor, capable of horsepower upwards of 850. So a lot more horsepower than the Trans Am cars ever had. A lot bigger displacement as well.
Yeah, back in the day, those were 310 cubic inch
Right,
motors.
Yeah, 310. These are 358s. And they're, the reason that most people went to them is, quite honestly, they're cheaper to operate than the 310 was, because there was never really ever a 310.
Right. Yeah, it had to be a specially constructed bore
Right.
and stroke kind of block setup to make that all work. So this, of course, the 358, pretty much standard architecture now in a lot of cases across NASCAR and other sanctioning bodies as well. Been adapted for these cars also here. Got a great field of cars to show you. 17 entries here, but at the sharp end of the grid, you've got some guys with terrific experience. Trans Am point leader Doug Peterson will line up third. Cliff Eben, who's raced in Trans Am for a long time GT1 competitor, many-time champion, will have the pole. Michael Lewis, the defending champion, out alongside the guy you raced against in Trans Am for a long time.
Yeah, Mike's got a lot of time in these cars from back in Trans Am days. And as you say, he was a winner here last year, so you can't count him out. This is a pretty tight field up front as far as the lap speeds go. The top three cars all qualifying very nearly the same time.
One of the other drivers who is a guy at the front of the points table in Trans Am, Simon Gregg from Florida, in Jim Durhock's 59. So another combination with a lot of experience, a lot of time here at this racetrack, and a lot of capabilities as well. So it ought to be a very entertaining 50-mile run in GT1 coming up in just a couple of moments. Let's set the scene downstairs to John Bisignano.
Well, Cliff Eben has his beautiful Ford Mustang on pole position here. And right behind him, of course, is Michael Lewis with the Rocket Sports Jaguar. Of course, that's when Ford owned Jaguar. But these are Detroit muscle cars. They all have 600 horsepower of V8 Detroit type V8 engines in them that made Elkhart Lake what it is today. This track made Trans Am racing. These are Trans Am cars. Historically, this track helped this form of racing go right to the top of the American favorites, all the way back to Mark Donohue in the Camaro, George Fulmer in the Mustang, still alive and well today. Now, I normally run back to the booth so I can watch the start from all the cameras and see what's going on and take my notes. Today, no way, guys. I'm going to be out there by that pit wall listening to the Trans Am cars of Detroit, the V8s of America, setting the noise level out of sight right here at Road America the way they've done for 45, 50 years. It's going to be great. Dorsey, you used to win in these things. Tell us what it's like to be inside that missile.
This is one of the fastest racetracks you run these cars at. They'll be going down into turn 5 at over 180 miles per hour. 3/1000ths of a second separate our front row. So that's as close as you're about to get, not even a tenth back to third for that matter. These 358s will be pulling somewhere around 9,000 RPM and, like I say, upwards of 800 horsepower to get the job done, all 5 speeds in these cars.
Amazing race cars, lots of fun. One of the things that first hooked me on road course racing back in the 70s when I was a high school student was going to Lime Rock, watching Trans Am back in the day, back in the days of Sam Posey and George Fulmer
and that's a
Mark
tough
Donohue.
racetrack for these cars. That's a little mile-and-a-half bull ring where this, you look at this 4-mile racetrack here, it's wide open spaces, and it's meant for big horsepower for like these cars have in them. And there's a bunch of tire war going on here too, for that matter. While we look about that, back in the Trans Am days, we all had spec tires. First they were Goodyear, then BF Goodrich after that. But now these cars, wide open, they can mix and match and come up with some pretty creative compounds.
So it'll be a lot of fun to watch GT1 get going here in just a couple of moments. Cliff Eben in that white Mustang, the 6th car. He's got the pole. Ran a lap of 2:03.917 seconds. And he outqualified last year's pole sitter and GT1 champion Michael Lewis from Poway, California, in the Cycle Sport Redline Oil 12 car. That's the Jaguar that you see second in line. Lewis qualifying at 2:03.943 seconds, so just 3/100ths off the pace. And then Doug Peterson from Bonita Springs, Florida, in car number 8. We saw Doug earlier in Formula Mazda, the three-dimensional.com Corvette. He is the points leader in Trans Am right now in that car. Ran a lap of 2:04.449 seconds. Simon Gregg also heavily locked in that championship battle in Trans Am, driving Jim Durhawk's 59. Simon from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, a 2:07.461 second qualifying lap. Kevin Rich will start 5th in the 95. He's from Round Rock, Texas, the cleaning system specialist Mustang. David Firstrand from Fort Worth, Texas, in the 05, the Firstrand race-prepared Corvette, will line up in 6th. From Canfield, Ohio, 7th starter is David Pintarek in the Kreider Racing Corvette. And Kyle Kelly from Huntington Beach, California, in the upracing.com Corvette. That's the 3 car. Kelly will line up in 8th spot. A lot of experience for Kyle. Denny Lamers from Neenah, Wisconsin, not far from here, the McMahon Group Ford Mustang. That's the 66. He'll start in 9th inside row 5. Dave Rulo in the 31 from Wisconsin. And that is a Mustang as well. He'll go 10th. Jim McAleese from Leesburg, Virginia. The McAleese & Associates Corvette starts 11th. That's the 03. The 62 of Tom Smith from Springdale, Arkansas. The USA Metal Recycling Corvette lines up 12th. Terry Giles in the 85 from Loxahatchee, Florida. The Red Rhino Chevrolet Corvette. He'll go 13th. Phil Dowse from Mount Prospect, Illinois. And the PDQ Camaro starts 14th. Richard Grant from Germantown, Tennessee, in a Corvette. That's the 30 car, 15th. Rick Dittman from Prairie View, Illinois, who's been doing this a long time. That's a Corvette, the 24 car, former Trans Am regular. And James Cantrell from Tucson, Arizona, the Vintage Exotics 87. He is scheduled to start 17th as the field rolls away.
Trans Am races back in the day were 100 miles long, which were just about an hour or just as short of an hour sometimes. But you could definitely run the tires off of your car in a Trans Am race. Now we're looking at a whole different scenario here. We're looking at 13 laps of green flag racing or 40 minutes. So they don't have to conserve the tires as much as you would have had to back in the day, if you will. Plus these compounds, like I was talking about, we got a cool day. I'm kind of wondering if anybody went with a soft compound and want to gamble to get the speed in the car, you know, with it being cool out.
And can you mix and match compounds front and rear here?
They don't want you to do that. I don't know that it's definitely a rule that you can't. Back in Trans Am days, we would mix and match sometimes. You know, we'd always go with a hard left rear here, because you're going to lean on that thing. So it's an individual call from the driver or the crew chief that what they want to do on that.
So we will see how it plays out. Pace lap underway for GT1, one of the events we've been looking forward to all weekend long. And you can tell the roar of those big V8s, those 358 cubic inch 4-barrel equipped V8s, getting fans up on their feet around this 4-mile layout here. We can see the attention level picking up. No disrespect meant to any of the previous classes run here today, but you can tell that fans know this ought to be a great show.
You can't miss these. These are the ground pounders. You feel this car when it goes by. It shakes your feet, shakes your innards inside you. It's why people like this class. And even though these are heavily muffled cars compared to the straight pipes we see at NASCAR, it is in fact the same engine under the hood there.
Now, Sports Car Club of America has something new this season called the Super Sweep Award. We've talked about it a little bit over the course of the weekend. Not every class has a Super Sweep candidate. You have to win a majors conference, at least one of the major races of the year, lead the national points coming in here, and then win the runoffs as well. So you've got it's sort of a grand slam, if you will, of SCCA national competition in this category in GT1. Mike Lewis is the guy who's got a shot at doing that. Majors Conference winner. He's won one of the major national events this season. He is the national points leader in GT1. And if Mike Lewis can score the victory here back-to-back in GT1, that would give him a Super Sweep trophy to go alongside a gold medal if Lewis can get the job done. He starts on the outside of row number 1 in that car number 12. You may have noticed, and we saw it in Mike Lewis's view, we saw the 12 heading up from turn 5 on the pace lap there. A lot of oil dry down from the previous race.
The race right before this was Formula B, and they tend to leak a little bit. Well, they leaked a lot of it. And so they got an oily racetrack to
That's
deal
a polite
with.
way to put it. Yeah. Diapers, I think, used to be standard equipment on those motors.
These are full tube frame cars, although you can see that's a Corvette, and you can see there's a Mustang up there in the pole. No part of that race car is a street-derived piece. In other words, there's nothing on that car whatsoever that comes on your street car with the exception of the taillights. The taillights are stock. The rest of that is a real race car.
Yeah, it's plastic body, fiberglass body, in most cases some carbon fiber in these cars.
Yeah, mostly carbon fiber.
Decals for headlights on the Mustangs and so forth. Of course, the Corvette's closed lights there. Some of the older body style Mustangs and Camaro, the few Camaros in this category as well. Some of the older body style Corvettes here. We noted that Michael Lewis's car is a Rocket Sports chassis. From the years when Paul Gentilosi's Rocket Sports bunch was the dominant team in Trans Am. Mike Lewis, a privateer with that car. He ran that car in Trans Am, still does occasionally. So, and it looks like Evan in that new body style Mustang on the pole in that white number 6, and Lewis right behind him in the 12 should come up alongside as we get set for the start here.
Surprised Mike Lewis isn't alongside.
Yeah, he's not alongside Evan. I'll let Evan move to the inside. Evan choosing to go driver's right as we go. Safety car is in. 17 cars ready to go. 52 miles of racing in GT1. We're glad to have you with us on SpeedcastTV.com. Green flag about to go in the air. Lewis on the outside, your defending champion in that black Jaguar, as they head under the green flags and haul it down toward turn 1.
Lewis, good start from the outside. He's got a nose ahead right now of Evan. We'll see if, nope, now Cliff comes up the inside and carries with him Doug Peterson.
Mike Lewis runs way off line, goes over the rumble strip. Simon Gregg, I think, out there as well. Everybody keeps it straight. Evan takes advantage and opens up 6 or 7 car lengths.
Cold day, cold tires, and a lot of horsepower under the hood. It's really the first couple laps around here is going to be really dicey. You saw it with Mike Lewis, made that mistake, got out wide, and now he's all the way back to 4th or 5th.
Simon Gregg and Jim Durhock's 59 in second spot. Peterson and that yellow three-dimensional.com Chevrolet runs 3rd. And you've got a couple of the Mustangs. There's Lewis on the inside now as they head toward turn 5.
Peterson takes that position, and this is where all that oil dry is, so the guy's going to have to be real tender on the throttle pedal getting up through here.
Race leader is Cliff Evan. Heading up the hill toward the Corvette Bridge. There's the 3 car battling with Michael Lewis. On the move, Kyle Kelly from Huntington Beach, California. Kelly, a veteran campaigner who's driven a lot of different race cars very, very well and doing a nice job here at GT1.
These cars are capable of spinning the rear tires in any gear at any speed. So you don't just go off a corner and floor them. You got to feed that throttle. Most of the guys go with a really long throttle linkage, so you've got a lot of travel in that throttle pedal.
Simon Gregg in the 59, Mike Lewis in the 12. Veteran Trans Am campaigners. Battle there is for 3rd position. I'm impressed with Kyle Kelly. Dorsey Schrader took off from 8th and has gotten himself up to 3rd.
Yeah, he did a really good start at the thing. And the guy that really surprised me was Mike Lewis, who got caught off guard. He's got the most experience of any driver out there, and he was the one that made the mistake on cold tires.
So Lewis trying to gather things back up. There's Peterson in the 87. Here's Lewis now trying to get by Simon Gregg, pick up a spot. So give Lewis 4th position. That shuffles Simon back to 5th.
Got that done pretty easily. Brake zone down there in Canada corner. Simon didn't really contest for it. Made it happen pretty easily. Little brake smoke there in the 3. That could be... I
think that's a spot of oil dry, maybe still down there.
It could still be oil dry, too, because like I said, the Formula B race in front of this, there was pretty heavy leakage going on.
Cliff Evan is your leader. Doug Peterson into 2nd spot now. 3rd belongs to Kyle Kelly in that 3. That's a Corvette-bodied machine. 4th spot is Lewis. 5th is Simon Gregg. 6th position to Kevin Rich in the 95. That's a Mustang. Denny Lamers is 7th of the 66 car.
2 Corvettes in front of that Jaguar right now.
Kyle Kelly doing a great job to come from 8th on the grid. Did some nice driving in early stages of lap number 1 to make that move. Put himself in position to get to the top 3. Needs to get by Peterson. Cliff Evan took advantage of all of that and has opened up a big lead.
Boy, he has opened up a huge lead. Cliff's outrunning everybody with that Mustang.
You would think in terms of speed, Lewis the defending champion. Here's the fight for 2nd spot. Peterson opening the door now for Kyle Kelly, who goes flying by.
Sure did. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Cliff Evan ended up on the pole, but it was only by 0.03 of a second. So, yeah. I mean, you would think that Mike Lewis would be able to match speed. Again, though, these guys haven't run in the dry since Tuesday. It's been wet for both of their other sessions, too. So, depending on what they did with tire compound and what they did with chassis setup, might be the difference we're looking at.
Didn't see tire smoke or brake smoke when Lewis went way offline, but I guess it's possible he might have flat spotted a tire going.
Yeah, I think he was okay. I think it was just on cold tires, and he just didn't have the grip, and then got out there in the clag and couldn't get the car back underneath him. Looks like he's okay now, but Cliff Evan, in the meantime, is checked out from these guys, and it's going to be awfully hard to catch him.
I like what Kyle Kelly's doing, though. He's laying down some very quick laps. Take a look at last lap time. Evan's best lap so far at 2:10.4. Kyle Kelly's best lap at 2:15.2. Now, that was in traffic, so Evan, with open racetrack in front of him, taking full advantage.
5 seconds. Even looking at that 2:10, I understand that the track is off on its speed from qualifying. These guys qualified at 2:03, so they're 7 seconds slow right now to what they ran on Tuesday. And
Your
that's
third place
just definitely racetrack. It's rained here day and night for the last 3 days, so this track is not rubbered up that much.
Peterson in car number 8 running in third position. There's Kelly in the 3. The white car with the red stripes, the white Corvette.
Yeah, and
There's
that was
Peterson.
well dry. You were right about that. All of them went through at that time. You saw it blow up.
Michael Lewis there in the black and orange Redline Oil 12 car. That is a Jaguar bodied machine.
I haven't driven one of these cars with these new tires on it. These tires are bigger than what Trans Am run. I'm kind of interested how hard you can get away with driving it early in the race and still have a tire underneath you. You never could do that in the Trans Am car. You always had to
tire management was always important.
Yeah, you had to protect those rears real bad.
Watching the battle for position here, 3 wide as they challenge the 05 machine, trying to get to the inside and pick up some ground. Jim McAleese back there. Tom Smith, Denny Lamers in the 66, Pintarek in the 7. Some good jockeying for position deeper in the field. Dave Furstrand there in the 05.
Most of these cars built by Riley. Some of them from Riley and Scott back in the day. Some of them from Riley themselves. Some of them by, Tom Gloy. We modified our own stuff. Jack Roush, of course, made his own chassis from scratch. And then you got Tony Ave and Jim Durhog right now is doing most of the body molds for these cars and building these cars. Tony Ave's got a lot of cars in this field, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Lamers cars, Eben and Denny Lamers in the 66, among the cars that our good friend Tony Ave is responsible for. Of course, former Trans Am champion in his own right. There's one of those cars, the Mustang, the 66 of Lamers.
Pretty much the cars are the same underneath the skin. You run the same chassis. If you put a Chevy motor in it, you can run a Corvette body. You could run a Camaro body. You put a Ford in it, you can run a Mustang body or a Jaguar body.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of creativity in this category in terms of what you see, and of course the wings on the back of the cars, plenty of downforce on these vehicles.
Chrysler was in this for a while with the Archer brothers from Minnesota. They had their Dodges in here for a while in Trans Am. Good looking cars.
Cliff Eben opening up nearly a 7-second lead over Kyle Kelly. Now Kelly's starting to get with the program once he broke free of traffic as we watch this battle for position. There's the 85. Terry Giles in that good-looking Red Rhino Corvette back in the field. That's one of the new bodywork Corvettes, you may notice.
Cliff has actually dropped his speed now. He's got some tire temperatures down to a 206, so still 3 seconds off of what he qualified at. Kyle Kelly, who runs seconds, 2 seconds slower than he is at a 208.1.
Yeah.
And so still, he's opening up 2 seconds a lap. That's a lot.
This is Kyle Kelly in the red striped Corvette, the 3 car, running in second spot. Doug Peterson third in car number 8. Simon Gregg fourth.
What happened with Mike Lewis? I mean, he must have just missed the setup totally. He's back there in 5th. He was picked to win. He's got a lot. They probably got the most experience of anybody in that group. And that's the car that he ran in Trans Am, too, so it's not like it's a new thing.
Yeah, he certainly knows that race car very well, and as we mentioned, that's a Rocket Sports chassis, back when Rocket Sports was the dominant manufacturer in Trans Am back in the late 90s, early part of the 2000s. And here is Simon Gregg and Jim Durhog's 59, and there's the Muscle Milk car, the 12 of Lewis, trying to get back by him and pick up 4th spot.
It's good for Simon to be able to run with Mike.
Meantime, for second, Peterson alongside Kyle Kelly. We were raving about Kelly's drive from 8th to 2nd, but Doug Peterson comes right back at him.
Actually, Peterson, if you look at Sports Car Magazine, they picked him to win.
Yeah.
Any of those top 3, though, you would think, he's Trans Am points leader. I mean, I would, between him and Eben has been fastest all weekend. Mike Lewis, you would think would be up there. I don't know what's going on with his car, but he's dropped back.
Kelly in the 3 car, reestablishing second. Doug Peterson got up alongside. Wonder if Kelly might have just made a slight mistake in or out of one of the corners that we didn't see him on earlier, because just if you're offline just a few inches here, it can mean everything.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these cars are pretty big and pretty heavy, so you need to be on the right part of the racetrack with them. Like I say, with the kind of power that they bolster, you don't get any traction at all if you're off in the dirty stuff. So if you get there, you get pick up on the tires and you can't get rid of it. And these things they're beasts. They're big.
Kyle Kelly in that white 3 runs second. Doug Peterson in the yellow 87 is third. All of this action happening almost 9 seconds behind race leader Cliff Eben in that white Mustang, car number 6. This is the fight for 4th. Simon Gregg in the 59.
Heard some tire squeal out of one of those 2 cars back there in Canada. I don't know which it was Simon that locked the brakes up, or it could have been Mike for that matter too.
Kevin Rich in that 95, one of the older body style Mustangs, in 6th. There's that battle for 4th spot up the straightaway, and Mike Lewis takes a look to the inside of Simon Gregg going into turn 1.
He's got position on him for the apex, and Simon lets it happen cleanly.
So Lewis rolls by, moved Mike Lewis up to 4th position in the 12 car. And we'll see now, he may have been held up a little by Simon Gregg.
Yeah, and I was saying before about these tires and not having driven them, I wonder about tire degradation, how much, if Mike Lewis is cognizant of that right now and he's just running off easy laps, waiting for the end of this race so he can step the pace up. That could be too.
So 2nd and 3rd right there, Peterson and Kyle Kelly. Here's 4th and 5th, the Muscle Milk car of Mike Lewis. Simon Gregg in that beautiful red, white, and blue Durhog Corvette behind him in the 59. And then your 6th place runner is Rich in the 95. Next, Tom Smith in the 62. Dave Furstrand in the 05. Jim McAleese in the 03. Philip Dowse in the 09. That's the rest of your top 10. As Cliff Eben continues to show the way, the Mazda running order top of your screen. Keep up with your favorite driver here during these 50th SCCA runoffs.
Eben with 11.5-second lead over 2nd place. That's unheard of. That's just in
He's
the
just
next
stretching
county.
it out. Yeah, he said goodbye to the field
Yeah,
here.
he did. I mean, he was strong, like I said, but
Yeah.
there was a couple other cars that ran the same kind of numbers he
Sure.
did in practice day.
Yeah, Mike Lewis able to hang right with him in qualifying earlier in the week before the wet weather. And yeah, it could be the track conditions just don't favor that 12 car today.
And then that's the other deal, like we talked about before. These guys qualified on Tuesday in the dry, sunny. We have not had that since, and they would have had to have guessed on what to do for today. And it's cool out there. I mean, it's probably 60 maybe outside, little wind. So their setup guess might be wrong.
Could be, certainly could be. Battle rages here for 4th. Mike Lewis got by Simon Gregg a lap or so ago. Gregg out of Canada corner trying to get back on the gas and close back in on Mike Lewis and challenge for that spot.
None of the cars showing any signs of trouble, that's for sure. I mean, we have no smokers out there. We haven't had a lot of brake lockup anywhere that concern you. We know it's an oily racetrack, and that's why the speeds are off.
2nd place runner Kyle Kelly in that white number 3. 3rd place car, Doug Peterson in the yellow 8 right behind him. Cliff Eben last time by continuing to lay down great laps. Last lap was his fastest at 2:05.6, so Eben adds to the lead. Nearly 14 seconds to the good now over Kelly in that white 3 car. Eben in his own zip code at the moment.
He can't even see another car on the racetrack.
This is the battle for 8th and 9th. The 03 that is in your frame now. Jim McAleese in that red Corvette. The 05 just in front of him. Dave Furstrand is 7th, so that's 7th, 8th, and 9th spot. 9th belonging to the 62 of Tom Smith, that yellow Corvette with the red center stripe.
Cars look pretty equally matched.
Yeah.
Here comes a pass attempt down into turn 5. Not quite deep enough to make it work yet.
McAleese in the red 03 with the blue roof. Rick Dittman in the 24 headed for pit road.
Yeah, Rick, longtime Trans Am competitor, didn't have good qualifying either. He was way back in the back. And I don't know if he's pulling behind the wall or if he's just...
Nobody in a big hurry to service the car. So
well,
it looks like,
you never have a pit stop in the runoffs
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, sometimes you'll see a guy get a flat tire or something like that, but there's nothing planned as far as pit activity. When you're in there, you're usually in bad shape.
Never a good sign when you roll to a stop on pit road and nobody's in a hurry to jump the wall and come help you there. The 05 car, the 03, that's a good battle for spot. Position 7, 8, and 9 up for grabs in the carousel in GT1.
Yeah, these guys pretty equally matched. You don't see any one of those 3 cars gaining or losing much ground anywhere on the racetrack. They're just running off the same lap times almost.
Running in the 209s, Dave Furstand in the 05 in 7th, Jim McAleese in the 03, sitting 8th, and then Tom Smith in the 62. That's the yellow with red trim Corvette. Running 9th right now. Oh, in trouble.
Spin. Down in turn 5, whoever that is.
Don't see the car number, one of the new body style
that's
Corvettes.
The 7.
That would be the 7 car of Dave Pintarek, one of the stronger Trans Am competitors. He's running GT1 this week. So
he's been running multiple classes throughout this. In fact, he's run today once before. 05 makes him a little mistake, gets out wide, might get
First
past.
stand running out of road there on the right-hand side.
He is going to get past as a result of that.
First stand gave up a lot of momentum. Jim McAleese alongside him in the 03. This is a pass for 7th spot. McAleese makes it good. So McAleese makes a move and gains a spot going down into turn 1.
That's when you got 3 cars running equal speeds like that. You got to wait for a mistake to happen. We just saw it happen.
So give Jim McAleese the position now as the 05 of first stand may give up another spot. Tom Smith takes a look.
Yeah, he was in there pretty deep. Tom Smith was going to get in trouble there if he continued on that line. He was going to go to the apex at the same time at the wrong angle. Now he's got a better run going. That's down into the 5. That's a lot easier to pass down there.
Smith in the 62. He's got the lane. He's got the inside line, which you prefer going into 5, and he makes it good. Meantime, let's check in on that battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Kyle Kelly opening up a few additional car lengths now over Doug Peterson, your 3rd place runner in the 8. Michael Lewis in 4th. There's Peterson.
Surprising
Kelly in the 3.
To me that these 3 guys, which are all good drivers, Kyle Kelly, Doug Peterson, Mike Lewis, are not making any ground. In fact, they're losing 2 seconds a lap to the leader.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Cliff
not
Evans
because
doing a great job here.
Yeah, and it's not because they're racing each other hard and that they're side by side all the time. They're just don't have the speed. Car setup, whatever you want to call it. Cliff Evans is a master of this race right now.
Evans from Appleton, Wisconsin, not far away. This is certainly his home racetrack.
Absolutely right.
And guys do have that advantage. I mean, you've got a lot of laps you can test. You can run all sorts. You can run different cars. You can do all sorts of things when you've got a racetrack an hour away.
This is an intimidating track for a driver to come to the first time because the speeds of the corners are so high, But if you run here continually, if you're a local guy and you get used to this racetrack, well, then you're comfortable with it. That adds a lot.
About to put lap number 7 on the board. Kyle Kelly in the 3, your 2nd place competitor. And we'll check the gap for you. 18 seconds the margin behind Cliff Eben, the race leader. Eben, as we said, in an area code all his own. Doug Peterson right there, though, is 3rd, so that's a good fight. 4th spot, Michael Lewis, well within striking distance. And then Simon Gregg in the same general vicinity, running in 5th right now, and Jim Durhag's 59. We're halfway home at GT1, the 50th SCCA Runoffs. We'll be right back at Road America.
The 2013 SCCA Runoffs are brought to you by Mazda. Zoom Zoom.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
He ignored the naysayers and never compromised. When Thomas Edison threw the switch, it changed everything. Engineering without compromise. This is the Mazda way. And this is the Mazda CX-5. SkyActiv technology makes it lighter yet stronger, earning a top safety pick. And more fuel efficient than any hybrid SUV. This is the uncompromised Mazda CX-5. What do you drive?
Back with you at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. GT1 is the action on the racetrack right now, alongside Dorsey Schrader, Ibrick Benjamin, John Bizignano with our coverage on pit road. Day 2 of the 50th running of these SCCA runoffs here at Road America. Last time around, at least for a while. Next year, we'll be out on the West Coast at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Our Mazda running order top of your screen. And then a couple of years away, Daytona International Speedway to cap the SCCA national season. Mike Lewis out of the final turn, still running in 4th spot in front of Simon Gregg. About to put lap number 8 on the board for these competitors. And, Dorsey, when we looked at the timesheets, we looked at the grid for this race, we thought, man, we've got 6 or 8 really good competitors in this thing, guys who race these cars in the Pro Series and Trans Am as well as in GT1 nationally in SCCA competition. Thinking this would be a barn burner, but boy, Cliff Edmond has just said, see you guys, and headed off into the sunset.
And I didn't see that coming at all. I don't think anybody saw that coming because, 300ths of a second between the front row, not even a 10th back to 3rd place. And at the drop of the green, Cliff said, okay, I'm out of here. And then nobody's been able to even challenge or get close. He's sitting out there way out almost 21 seconds in front of 2nd place, which is unheard of. It's just, he's stinking up the show.
It's Kyle Kelly in the 3 car in trouble on pit road and making the hard right turn. So your 2nd driver in the field, 2nd place runner, Kelly out of California. Problems with the 3, so that will move everybody up 1. Doug Peterson back to 2nd now, and that puts Michael Lewis in position to get to the podium, at least in 3rd. Greg is 4th, and now Kevin Rich in the 95 moves up to 5th, and we've got 4 to go next time by. There's Peterson in the 3dimensional.com 8 car.
Kyle Kelly had dropped back to 10th, so some kind of mechanical issue he was dealing with. He'd run up front early and then goes behind the wall, so something that is not repairable within the confines of a sprint race.
Kyle Kelly with NASCAR experience, has driven a lot of race cars, very capable competitor out of California, young guy, and has a lot of years left to continue to grow as a driver. So unfortunately, he has to give up a podium spot. Looked like he was in great shape to at least run 2nd here today.
Doug Peterson, you're looking here at the canary yellow car. He's in a lonely second place. Can't see first. He's out-gapped now. Lewis and Simon Gregg right there to see the two of them in third.
Doris, let me ask you this question. As a former Trans Am champion, when Lewis went down into turn one, it looked to me as though he was definitely trying to get by Evan before he got to one. He went way offline, ran the car in way too hard. Is it possible he could have upset the race car that much that he just had to fall off the pace there?
You wouldn't think so unless they just missed on the setup totally. I mean, he got in there with too much speed, like you say, pushed out, got out there in the marbles and rode around the outside. But he should have been able to recover from that. I mean, unless the car is just not the way he likes it at all. He's got plenty of experience in this car, so for it to be that far off of the pace, and we're talking about the fact that he is over 2 seconds a lap slower than Evan, who he qualified 300ths of a second behind. Something's wrong.
Battle here for third. The Muscle Milk 12 of Michael Lewis right there. Last year's winner at GT1 has third spot. Simon Gregg and the Durhag 59 car right behind him, sitting in fourth.
And like I say, none of these cars showing any indication of having anything wrong with them.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see any smoke. We don't see any kind of ill handling characteristics showing up. Just the speed isn't there.
Evan, now with the departure of Kyle Kelly from the running order, 22.5 seconds ahead of the second place car, Doug Peterson. Second, third, and fourth relatively close together. Peterson about 4 seconds to the good over Mike Lewis here to the third place car. And then Gregg in the 59 running fourth, another second or so behind. There's Peterson. And meantime, we've one of the best battles on the racetrack. Dave Perstrand in the 05, the 62 of Tom Smith. This is for 7th spot. And the 62 car, Smith gets him on the inside of turn 5.
Yeah, and David didn't get into the brake zone very good there, and he got out wide. It kind of just allowed that to happen. You don't want to be out too wide in that turn 5 area for two reasons. The rumble strips on the outside are pretty big there. They upset the car. Plus, you get into that, the clag, as David Hobbs would call it, and you can't get the car to turn anymore.
So the 62 of Smith now in 8th spot. Perstrand in the 05, giving up 8th spot, we should say. Perstrand now back to 8th, and Tom Smith up into 7th. And Neil Amers in the 66 is shown in 9th. So it's Evan and Peterson, Lewis and Gregg, and Kevin Rich in the 95, your top 5. And this is the fight here for 7th and 8th.
And they've been fighting the whole race.
Yeah.
Ooh, that time across the apex curb at the kink, not good idea to do that. That usually really upsets and loosens the car up.
That's Denny Lamers there in the white 66. That's the team car, Cliff Evans machine.
Yeah, he might be able to catch these guys if they keep making. Right now they're making a little bit of mistakes, both of them. Like I said, that time the 62 ran up over the top of the curb and loosened itself up. That was with Tom Smith. So that Mustang is sneaking up. That's brake lock up now, the same car. So these guys are running really hard, but they're starting to make rudimentary mistakes, all of which will get you sooner or later.
Absolutely. Lamers in the 66, interesting story. Tony Abe has driven for Lamers' team and won the first couple of Trans Am championships in the most recent iteration, which is still ongoing as Trans Am tries to rebuild. Lamers' team owner went to Tony a couple of years ago and said, hey, I want to do this too, and had Tony build him a car, and that's that car, the 66. So
that's job security is what that is. That's always good.
Exactly.
That's good.
So Smith in the 62. Now in 7th spot, Perstrand in the 05 and 8th. Lamers up to 9th. Phil Dowse in the 09, 10th. But he's another 12 seconds or so behind this battle. There's your race leader. Haven't seen Cliff Evan in a while. Running his own race, you might as well call it at this point. 25 seconds ahead of Doug Peterson.
Just on a rail out there. He's running consistent 205, 206. That's 2 seconds slower than what he qualified. That doesn't mean he's not trying. It means the racetrack's probably off him about that much. But he's definitely just looking at the lap consistency of the lap times. He's in a zone, you know. He's got himself locked up and running good.
When you're running a car like this that's so fast and so much fun to drive, and you've got a great day going, man, is there a better thing in the world as a race car driver to experience?
He's pretty happy. I mean, I think in your own way, you'd rather have people right around you really pushing you on, because you get into this where he's at right now with such a big lead, it makes your mind start to wander, you know, and you start thinking about 20 seconds, you know. And then as soon as you start thinking about anything but what you're doing, which is driving the race car, you start making mistakes. And any one of them can be a costly error.
Less than 2 laps to go for Cliff Evan in car number 6, laying down perfect laps, lap after lap here.
Yeah, he's really consistent. That's why I know he's in the game. His head's in the game. You know, if he was all over with his lap times, then I think he's, you know, you could say that, you know, he's just getting bored out there. But he's right on the money. These guys are still fighting at it.
Yeah, 7th, 8th, and 9th, best battle on the racetrack right now out of Canada Corner here. 7th spot belongs to the 62 of Tom Smith. David Furstrand of the 05 is 8th, and Denny Lamers in the 66 team car to the race leader in 9th position. And Lamers has caught them. I mean, I give Lamers a lot of credit. The guy with just a couple of seasons of racing under his belt, going up against guys who've been doing this for 15 or 20 years.
Well, they've pushed themselves to a speed now where they're no longer comfortable, and you can see that in the cars.
Yeah.
You know, they're running right now to where they're starting to make mistakes. They're starting to get a little brake lock up, wisps of smoke here, back end sliding around a little bit. So they've actually pushed themselves into a faster lap. But I see another trouble right there, the 05, out wide again. He locked the brakes up. He might lose that place.
Furstrand ran way wide in one, opened the door for Denny Lamers.
These cars,
not quite there.
As they run their fuel off, the fuel tank is behind the driver's seat. It's back there by the rear axle. The rear tires are always getting, they're always degrading to some degree. The fuel at the back is getting lighter, so the back of the car is getting lighter. So at the end of these, you start getting looser and looser. Depending on how the setup was when they started, it can really be a handful at the end of the race. And that could be what we're seeing with these guys, because they're definitely twitching around a lot more.
Furstrand in the 05 able to hang on. Lamers in the 66 behind him there. They're running 8th and 9th.
For Furstrand, he's actually what I would call lazy on the brake pedal. He's braking at the right area, but he's braking lightly instead of really hammering it and get that nose pinned down to the ground. You can see he's kind of floating the car in. They don't like doing that because they get up on the springs and they get the twitching around that you see him doing it.
You want that front to drop down. You want to hammer the brakes, get the nose down.
You want to use those brakes and use them really hard down in the brake zones and then release that pressure as you get, approaching the corner. He's kind of floating, what I call floating it into the corner, and it allows the car not to be down on the racetrack. It allows it to come up on the springs, and it makes it real nervous feeling.
We've been green all the way in this one, GT1. 1 lap to go for Cliff Evans. Saw the 1 to go signal from the flag stand just a moment ago. And so far, Eben, the only driver to see that sign. Doug Peterson, your second place car, hasn't even gotten to the stripe yet as we continue to watch this battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. There's Peterson just seeing the 1 to go, and Mike Lewis in the 12 car running in 3rd.
Lammers might get that Mustang around at Corvette. He's really at the right place to do it. 1 to go.
Simon Gregg in 4th position in the 59, another 4 seconds behind Mike Lewis. So the top 3 really assured a podium spot. They just need to keep it on the racetrack.
Yeah, and they should now. That pressure is gone. Nobody can even see each other anymore. Much less Eben, who's about to lap him. If he had enough time, and he's just flying.
Eben has just been in a category all by himself, and here he is, the race leader in the 6 car, with just about half the racetrack still to go, and he will be on his way to a gold medal in these 50th SCCA Runoffs. Looking back over the GT1 history, Mike Lewis had won 3 of these titles in a row. Coming in today, Eben the champion in 2009 and back in 2003. So Eben is no stranger, certainly, to the top step of the podium here at the Runoffs.
Nice, clean, new-bodied Mustang. I like it. It doesn't have a lot of graphics all over the thing. I like the double stripe, the old-school look of the car.
As we take a look back, one of the straight stretches here at Road America.
Brake zone for Canada Corner. All you got to do is climb the hill now, pretty much.
Just about home is Cliff Eben. It'll be his 3rd SCCA national title at the Runoffs in GT1. 3rd coming all in the last 10 years.
Car looks very well behaved. You don't see any kind of lateral movement out of that car.
Final corner for Eben. Headed to the front straightaway one final time. Checkered flags will be in the air for Cliff Eben at his hometown racetrack. He's out of Appleton, Wisconsin, and for the 3rd time, Cliff Eben is your champion at the SCCA Runoffs in GT1.
See if he backed off.
The 62 in trouble. Tom Smith was 7th, and he will not finish there. He's got a spin coming into the carousel, and the other drivers that he was fighting with, Furstrand and Lamers, both get by him.
I knew it was going to happen. Those guys were pushing each other and pushing each other. They're going above their comfort zone. You could tell. It
Mike
was
Lewis in the 12. Here's Doug Peterson in the 8 car. He will see the double checkered flags and earn the silver medal honors today. And Mike Lewis will cross the stripe. His string of 3 consecutive GT1 championships comes to an end.
Here comes Simon Gregg.
The bronze medalist here today. And Simon Gregg in the 59 will take home 4th spot. The 87 back in 13th, a couple of laps down.
Denny Lammers, can he get that Mustang past firsthand? I mean, that's where the 68 spun from. Or the 62, I think. And here it is.
66 and the 05 battling for position here. This is for 7th spot. And the 05, David Furstrand, is going to get 7th ahead of Denny Lamers in 8th position.
Yeah, good job for Denny Lammers anyway. Like you say, brand new guy to the sport.
Exactly so. Nice fight to the finish there.
Brings it home clean, no damage.
Absolutely. So Cliff Eben on his cool down lap Doug Peterson runs second. Lewis is third. Your top three finishers, your medalists here in GT1. And Dorsey, we were looking forward to an exciting battle. Cliff Eben didn't allow it to become one.
No, he didn't. He just absolutely smoked the competition today, like no respect whatsoever. Stunk up our show. But that's a dominant performance by him, no question about it.
Corner workers applauding Eben for a flawless run.
Absolutely. And tough break for Tom Smith. He was back there in the 62 and finally spun it. But it was kind of fun to watch those three guys because you could see that they were pushing each other beyond their, not beyond their skill level. I don't want to go and say that so much, but definitely beyond the comfort level.
Yeah.
And you could see all the little things starting to go wrong, you know.
Well, these are easy cars to overdrive with all the horsepower.
Oh, they got a ton of horsepower. I mean, you got to train your feet. You're driving with your feet in this car. You're directing with your hands and driving with your feet. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. So Eben in the 6 will collect his third national championship, his third gold medal at the SCCA Runoffs. First one came 10 years ago, 2003, repeated in 2009, and now again here in 2013. And the significance of this, winning the 50th golden anniversary edition, if you will. I mean, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, no doubt about it. Yeah, in these cars, your hands say, I'd like to go right, and your foot dictates whether it does or not.
Because you can spin the tires anyway.
Oh, yeah, you can be going left, turning right, too. But that's a big victory. Like you said, the 50th running of the runoffs, and with 600-plus cars here, and that photograph on the front straightaway, this is a monumental deal. It's just, I'm glad I'm here, actually.
It's a great weekend to be a part of, no question about that. So Eben brings the 6 up pit lane and being directed to his stopping point by the marshals. John Bisognano will step in and chat with Cliff Eben in just a couple of moments. Eben taking the visor up, undoing the Hans device there. And we'll hear from Cliff Eben coming up in just a couple of moments. Doug Peterson, the 3dimensional.com 8 car, your second place finisher, and Mike Lewis in the Muscle Milk Red Line Oil Jaguar finishes third. He had won 3 of these championships in a row coming in this year. Unfortunately for Mike, it will not be 4 straight, but one of the great competitors in this category of car for a long, long time. Nothing to be ashamed of, to be a top 3 finisher in GT1. Let's talk to those who played so strongly here today. Down to John Bisognano.
I'll tell you, I don't know when I've seen these cars be so dominated by Cliff Eben. My gosh, you almost made it look easy. When we were on the grid, I didn't think you had that much confidence out there. By my counting, you were almost 40 seconds ahead of the second place car.
I didn't know that.
Congratulations on it then.
Thank you. Everything went real well. The car was great. No major problems. I don't know what happened to everybody else, but there must have been some kind of issue back there.
Well, what happened in the first corner? You had some cars around you in the first corner, and that Jaguar made an unusual move there.
Yeah, I saw him outside of me going in, and at the last minute, he disappeared. So I don't know what happened, but...
Cliff, let me ask you, you also do the Trans Am racing. I mean, the competition here and the competition between the Trans Am, which is still very much alive and well, what's the difference between the two?
A lot of times we have the same cars here that we have in Trans Am. I mean, Doug's a first place car in Trans Am, Simon second. You know, I'm close to him, and you know, some of the other guys are all about the same people, really.
Well, let's get a nice shot of you with that well-earned gold medal on it. Again, Cliff, it's very unusual to see any class dominated like this. Congratulations on a great run.
Well, thank you.
All right, I think Cliff is a little overwhelmed with his own success, but someone who's very much used to running up front many times. We've seen the yellow number 8 car, boy, at this track and many others around the country is Doug Peterson, just receiving his silver medal. Doug, congratulations. My gosh, you were having more fun than anyone else out there for a while, but then you were all by yourself. Why couldn't you get anything up on this Mustang, buddy?
Well, you know.
What happened there?
You know, we got a couple little issues with the car, but nothing major. And Cliffy is so good and so consistent. I made a couple mistakes and got behind a couple people and rubbed a little bit with Mike in turn 1 there. Just
what happened there in turn 1?
You know, I went pretty deep on the brakes, and I'm trying to turn and brake, and I forgot to shift, so it wasn't good.
You know, with the change in the weather and so forth, some people, including yourself, were running considerably slower than your qualifying times. Was it a complete guess on the setup then?
Yeah, we changed the setup quite a bit, and actually I think we made the changes to the better because I raced my Mazda this morning and the track grip was really down. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, but you have a silver medal. Congratulations. Of course, Mike Lewis, we were lucky enough to follow him during the Trans Am career for years. He always loves to get a full shot of his car. That's why he always stands on the other side, Mike. Now, last time we were here, you weren't. This wasn't bronze; it was gold. But congratulations on a great run.
Yeah, I mean, I would have obviously liked to have tried to been up there, but we got knocked off in the first corner. Cliff made a great start. I don't know if I had a car to stick with him anyway. He was looked like he was on rails, but when I got knocked off in turn one, it just put me back and. The car just is never quite the same after that. Was
there some damage to it then? Because Dorsey was saying, you know, it didn't look like you hit that hard, but they were wondering if you might have flat spotted a tire or something like that. The car just wasn't under you.
Yeah, I don't know if it affected the toe or what, but suddenly I had oversteer. I haven't had that all week, and it's hard to say. But like I said, I don't know if anybody had the car to deal with Cliff today in any case.
That was a runaway thing. Setting up again for the cold weather. You were qualifying in completely different weather conditions. You just have to go from experience with that setup?
Yeah, I mean, with this car, it doesn't seem to really much matter as long as it's a certain temperature. But, you know, it's hard to say. It was certainly not good, so why that is, I don't know.
Well, you'll find out. Okay. Michael, congratulations on the bronze. And, of course, we'll see you back here next year.
Well, we'll be at Laguna. Well, we're going to Maya.
That's right.
We're going to Maya.
Thank you. You know, he loves to correct me on error. I mean, this has been going on for 15 years, you know, but we'll see out in California. That's your end of the country anyway. You're a California boy. You know.
Right, we'll play host next year.
All right, thanks. It's about time. No, just kidding. We'll see you out there. All right, congratulations. Well, it's all over with, guys, and I'll tell you, the sound was great, and then I love these cars, and it's great to see them back here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, where they belong.
We all do, no question about that. Mike Lewis, you can tell a little bit frustrated. Dorsey, the only thing I could figure was he just upset the car somehow when he went so wide there in turn one.
Yeah, you know, he said he didn't do anything to change the setup either. You know, he looked at the results there. Cliff Evans just killed it. That win was just dominant.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson, Mike Lewis, Simon Gregg, all the guys we would have expected to be exactly up there. We didn't know what order they'd be in, but those are the guys that should be up front.
Yeah, and a disappointing day. You won't see his name here in the top 10. Kevin Rich ends up 5th in the 95. Then McAleese with that great move late to get around first strand. Denny Lamers, Phil Dowse, and Tom Smith in the 62 who spun on the last lap. Smith was up in that mix in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and had a problem. But Kyle Kelly in the 3 had raced from 8th on the grid to 2nd. In just a matter of a lap or so, and looked as though he was in shape to make the podium no problem at all. Looked like he might have had a chance to get somewhat close to Cliff Eben. They had a problem late in the race, and he was behind the wall.
I think, though, he'll get the GoPro move of the race.
He will.
For that run from the back up to 3rd place, even though he had mechanical issues later on. He made the most gain in the race. There's no question about it.
Absolutely the case. A lot of close competition early on this three-way battle. Lamers there in the 66. The fight between Mike Lewis and Simon Gregg for position. There's Kelly in the 3 when he advanced to 2nd in the early going, chasing that, and then, of course, falling out in the late going. Had some good position swapping going on with Smith and first strand late. But Cliff Eben was in a class by himself. We congratulate Cliff winning his 3rd national championship in GT1. For Dorsey Schrader, I'm Rick Benjamin. We're back in 2 hours.
The 2013 SCCA Runoffs are brought to you by Mazda. Zoom Zoom.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
He ignored the naysayers and never compromised. When Thomas Edison threw the switch, it changed everything. Engineering without compromise. This is the Mazda way. And this is the Mazda CX-5. Skyactiv technology makes it lighter yet stronger, earning a top safety pick. And more fuel efficient than any hybrid SUV. This is the uncompromised Mazda CX-5. What do you drive?